this value right now is incredible. I agree it's tough to trade a guy that has this many years of control left, but I'm just saying a team could overwhelm you, and then you need to seriously consider it. Time for trade talk. Thanks to MLB 9 Innings. They'll help us out with some player cards while we go through some players. And I'll give a shout out to friend of the show, Jim Bowden, who we'll have at some point in the next few weeks. He put out an article in the Athletics column saying MLB execs predict 18 players most likely to be traded at the deadline. He pulled 35 executives around this sport to get the top names in 3 categories: starter, reliever, position player. So I'll throw some names out there. I thought position player was the most interesting. The names that popped up on his list were Jazz Chisholm, 1, Randy Arozarena, 2, Taylor Ward, 3, Tommy Pham, 4, Luis Robert, 5, Pete Alonso, 6. The back end made sense, especially since some of these questions were before the Mets went on their run. But what do you think about the top half of that conversation?
Arozarena, yes.
If the Rays fall apart, and I get what you're saying, you think the Rays will constantly do that churn and this is the time?
Yeah. Taylor Ward, 100%. That's an easy one. Jazz Chisholm, I mean, maybe the Marlins are just tired of him. That's the only thing I can think of is, he's we saw the poll the other day, but I mean, they say they like him, but what are the Marlins really doing? They need better farm system. Pete Bendix is going to be like, we're not making the playoffs. He said that after about 20 games. So why not? If you can get a big haul for him, why not?
Well, I also think Jazz can play center and infield spots. So depending on what not for a first division team, Kratz.
I mean, are you throwing him in center field for he's not
Phillies?
Right-handed for the Phillies? He's playing center field, yes. Is he it's like saying, oh, we're going to go get a starting pitcher who is going to anchor our rotation in the playoffs. It's not happening. Are you filling in for guys? You're not getting a haul for people that are filling in positions. Arozarena brings more intrigue because of what he did in the playoffs. He's been abysmal this year. He would tell you he's been abysmal. I don't know if he changed something, if he's playing through injury. He's not hitting fastballs, and that is crazy to me. But he has that intrigue of, okay, he's going to start making a little more money. The Rays aren't going to want to pay him after this year, definitely not after the next year. So you sit there and you go, okay, you'd have 2 years of control over him after this season, and he has playoff just domination. Is that enough for a haul? I think you'd get way more for him than you would for a Jazz Chisholm.
He's playing much better in June, too. He was brutal the first couple months, but he is playing better. I know he beefed up. He looked stronger, but that's not necessarily a good thing. He was working out with Yandy Diaz, I think, in the offseason, which, they say
2 hours of bicep curls.
Yeah, they say you can't get too big. You can.
Yandy, two hours of bicep curls every day. Doesn't even break a sweat. It's an incredible workout.
All right, let's go to pitching. So Garrett Crochet was by far number 1 on the list for his poll. That makes sense. Jack Flaherty, Luis Severino, Zach Eflin was actually pretty high on the list there too. Luzardo and Tarek Skubal made it on the list. That's one of the surprising ones too, just because the Tigers have been in rebuild mode for a while. Kratz is shaking his head, but given that we don't have many premier starters available coming up at this trade deadline, most likely, AJ, the Tigers could get a ridiculous haul for Skubal because of how much better he is than anyone else that's going to be available. And he's under team control still for years. You're shaking your head too?
Mm-hmm. First of all, 2 things. One, we're showing Crochet. If they're going to trade him, they need to let people know if he's on some sort of a limit this year, because we've talked about this a little bit. Like, let's say he goes and they're like, oh, we'll get a haul for Crochet. And he's like, oh, I got 20 innings left on the year, right? The team's going to be pissed, So that's a tough one for me. And plus, I think the White Sox fans need some hope to hold on to. And that's why I've been saying all year that Robert and Crochet won't be traded. Now, if they get an unbelievable offer for him, why not if you're Chris Getz? The fan morale is already at an all-time low, so why not just go ahead and do it and completely start over, which they said they weren't going to do. But then you look at Tarek Skubal. We just talked about the White Sox fans. Think about the Tiger fans. They got one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball going right now, and you're going to trade him when you're supposed to be climbing like this? Like, that is a devastating blow to a team that supposedly in the past has spent money, has wanted to compete, and they keep saying, hey, we're closer, we're closer, we're closer, we're closer, we're getting closer. And then you trade one of your best players, if not one of the best players in all of baseball. It seems like it's not going to happen, and I just cannot see A.J. Hinch and that whole team there letting that happen.
On that list, it's got to be Flaherty. What do we talk about all the time? We talk about guys, teams that are in the playoff hunt. You want to get the most, you go to the Braves and say, what do you want for Jack Flaherty? He is a guy that steps into that rotation if something happens to Charlie Morton. He's not going in front of Sale or Max Fried right now. That's totally fine. But what he's doing translates to the playoffs. And if the Braves don't want to give it to you, okay, the Astros will give it to you. Okay, if they don't want to, like, to me, he is that piece. Tarek Skubal is not happening. You do not give up a Cy Young contender from your rotation.
You know, I was trying to think about this, and I'm sure we can ask Bowden at some point when he comes on the show. So you poll execs. One side of me goes, well, you're talking to the people that are in on conversations. So they're letting us know that certain players might pop up in conversations. On the other side, this could be players that they hope will become available. Yeah. Or you can even throw names out there to kind of mess with your competition. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm going to throw Skubal's name out there and mess around with the Tigers a little bit.
I would love to meet that GM because he is probably awesome to hang out with. Whoever threw his name out there, I would love it.
All right, let's go to relief pitchers last. So among the poll, here's the players who popped up most likely to get traded. This one makes more sense, at least for some of the names. Tanner Scott, duh. That's the lock. Yimi Garcia looking more and more likely for the Blue Jays. Kenley Jansen, although let's see what happens with the Red Sox. And I also will mention that Kenley was on the record again lately saying he essentially won't do anything but the 9th inning. So you better make sure he's a 9th inning guy. He's like, I don't want to be messed with. Tyler Rogers on this list, although that's tough for me to see if San Francisco's in the race, and Mason Miller. Thoughts
Miller's
there?
Not going anywhere. Miller is not going anywhere. I know we like to joke about it. He's not going anywhere. I have too much.
What if you get offered the world, though? What if you get offered the world?
Nobody's offering the world for him.
Somebody said this the other day that I thought was interesting. Like, let's use the Phillies for your example. Do they need him? No. But if they have him, you eliminate 1 inning in your playoff run. Like, what if I told you that a player like this could win you a World Series? And also, they're the good example because of Craig Kimbrell, crapping in the NLCS last year. What is it worth? What's a World Series worth to you? I know that doesn't mean you're going to win, but this is a guy that's going to be a major October impact if he does get traded. I agree. There's so much team control.
It's not going to happen from the A side. It's not going to happen from the A side.
Well, what if you overwhelm them with prospects?
No team will do that anymore.
Aiden Miller is becoming a top 25 prospect-ish now. He was the high flyer on the Baseball America board. What if you offer Aiden Miller plus like a Mick Abel or an Andrew Painter? Dude, Painter could be a 1 and he's back next year. And Aiden Miller could be a star. Those 2 players in a package, maybe with a lower level, high risk, high reward guy on top of that, that might be tough to say no if you're Oakland. I mean, if Mason Miller really is just going to be a reliever for you and you're Oakland, you're still years away from contending. Also, keeping in mind, as much as we love him right now, most relievers that we talk about now, we don't talk about the same 3-4 years from now. Miller's had injury risks. I love him just like anyone else. I'm just saying, like, this value right now is incredible. I agree it's tough to trade a guy that has this many years of control left, but I'm just saying a team could overwhelm you and then you need to seriously consider it. I don't know what they'll be allowed to do and not do based on how the ownership's trying to sell the future of the team. But Kratz, would you say no to that deal if you're Oakland?
I would not say no to it, but I'm more advantageous. There's no team that's underwhelmed me on any deal than the A's. Who have the A's gotten back in all their dealings that you're like, okay, super impact here? If I just don't see how it's so far apart where the A's would be like, we know we have a commodity in Mason Miller. we're going to make this deal so that we get this much back. Like, to me, that would be the advantageous thing to do, is you have a reliever who is elite level and you can get 2 pieces to your starting rotation in Aiden Miller and Andrew Painter. That would be an unbelievable deal. But to me, when you get to names like that, the Phillies are like, we're good. We're good. It's too much. I just think they value him too much. They're not advantageous enough, and other teams understand what they're giving up. Other teams aren't just like, oh, neat, Mason Miller, we'll take him.
Okay. Fair. Good debate, though. We'll see. And a good article there by JB to bring up some names that we weren't thinking about. Some that we shoot down, but Arozarena is another one to keep in mind. You know, there aren't many impact bat outfielders available.
Phillies?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they need an outfielder.
Right-handed.
There's no doubt.
Although Nick's coming on. Nick is coming on, and Marsh is back, and it's a matter of, do they want just defense in center field and not defense and offense? Because they have Pache and Rojas that can rotate in and out there.
Rojas freshened it at AAA, by the way.
Yeah, he is. And he's a great defender. The Braves need...
I don't know how he's doing, but he's not in the big league, so he's not doing that great.
True, but the Braves need an outfielder or two as well, and I think they might make a splash in that department. Just
Fam's going somewhere for sure.
Yep, there's a right-handed guy.
Fam knows. He knows he's getting traded. You play well, you get traded out of that situation. So we're talking about shaving. It could be below the belt. It could be the nose hairs. That's where Kratz and I probably like to focus. It could be on the face. And that's why we trust Manscaped for the sensitive areas. Their newest package is the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, including the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Do you do a little nose hair action?
Oh,
do
yeah.
a little.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older, they get a little longer. It's true. Sorry about it. It's true. So
it's just
Manscaped
true.
has you covered.
It's disappointing. Nobody wants to see a nose hair when you're talking to them. Get it cleaned up.
Also, I love that it's ready to go when I get it. I know it sounds silly, but if you don't have the right battery, you get pretty pissed. So this already comes locked and loaded when you make the order. It has dual LED spotlights to contrast on multiple skin tones, 3 length setting combs, and it's waterproofed. And if you use our code and you go get that Performance Package 5.0, there's 2 free gifts. The boxers are great. The Shed Travel Bag, the body wash is great. The Buff Bundle, which includes their signature silicone scrubber. So there's a lot to look at. And you join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for FT fans, 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and you use the code FOUL, FOUL 20. FOUL 20 is the code. Go get after it.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.